So the numeric conversion is when you have one type of variable, such as an integer, and that integer variable has to deal with a double valued variable, such as like if num1 plus num2, but num1 was an integer, but num2 was a double, so that interaction forces a numeric conversion to occur. And there are two main types of conversions you have, implicit and explicit. So an implicit is when it automatically transforms that value to the type with a higher precedence. So this is automatically done by C# or Visual Studio, but the one rule of the one syntax rule you have to follow is whatever type that you're working with has to have a higher precedence. So here's an example. If you had a variable type that was a double, it can equal a variable that is an integer. The integer will automatically transform itself to a double because the double has a higher precedence. However, it doesn't work the other way around. Since the integer has a lower precedence, you couldn't convert a double into an integer automatically. And so because of that, we have what's called explicit casting, and that forces the transformation to occur by placing the desired type inside parentheses, followed by the variable that needs to be casted. So for example, if we're dealing with an integer, num1, and we wanted to equal double num, we have to cast int inside parentheses in front of that variable to force that double to be an integer. So remember, not all conversions are automatic or implicit. That's why we use explicit force if needed. So I've gone ahead and opened up Visual Studio so I could show you guys what implicit and explicit casting looks like within C#. I have an integer value called num1, and we have set that to 10. And I have a double num2, and it's assigned 2.0. And so you can see on the first line it says num1 equals num1 plus num2. Num1 is an integer, and it's trying to equal the integer num1 plus the double num2. And then syntax errors pops up. And it says cannot convert type double to target type int. An explicit conversion exists. Are you missing the cast? So it's trying to tell you or give you a huge hint that says, hey, you're going to need to explicitly cast to force that double as an int if you want to have this work. Now the second line, we have num2 equals num2 plus num1, which is a double plus num1, which is an integer. But this is implicit because the integer will automatically transform to work with the double because double has a higher precedence. So this line is good. So in order to fix this line, we need to take the double value, which we've assigned up here, double num2, and we need to cast it as an integer. And the way we would do that is we would add a parentheses and type int here. So now this is downgrading itself to an integer, and this makes our syntax error go away.